his head, you could see him losing.
That's the trainer's job.
He lost momentum, didn't he? He lost momentum in that corner.
But what I've noticed with him as well is that he shuts down sometimes. Like he doesn't listen to the call. That's why I've got the old man.
That's where you got his father involved.
Yeah, because he listened. That's the voice he's listening to. He's there all day with him. And that fight when he had the fight against
Gerald
Miller.
Yeah, you pulled his father into the ring.
And it was in the third or fourth round. And I see him looking, he was just in the ring, started looking around a bit. And I see Don talking to him in between rounds. And he just wasn't seeming to focus. And Don's an excellent trainer. He's got him there. And I just felt, and his dad, I remember he was sitting about 6 or 7 rows wherever he was sitting back. And I said, go and grab him, bring him in, push him in the corner. And I said to the old man, tell him to just double that jab up and then let the right hand go. It's obvious what he had to do. And Don was telling him the same thing, but he was listening.
Different voice.
And there is Frank Warren being absolutely frank about Daniel Triple D Dubois, stating that, hey, he doesn't listen at times, but he does listen to his father. And let me counterpunch. I think that Frank is unapologetically truthful about certain things. I remember he mentioned that when Daniel Dubois was right beside him in the face-off, and he said, well, hey, his mentality is something that is and can be in question at times just based on history and what he's done. Now, he has had back-to-back wins over undefeated fighters, Jarrell Miller and Philip Herkovic. Okay. But Frank does keep it a buck. Daniel Dubois was that golden boy, that golden child at Queensberry. But he also knows that that golden boy, that golden child had to grow up. He had to go through some things, but he also sees, hey, his kryptonite and his antidote. Okay, kryptonite at times, he doesn't focus. He doesn't listen. Okay, he can't consistently maintain focus without the antidote, which is his father. Okay, and whatever works. Okay, because a lot of times people can tell you the same thing, right? The same exact thing, but it's that one person that says it and you get it. And I believe his father, he has mad respect for his father. His father's the one that started this thing in the first place by putting him in boxing at age 9. Okay, so he has history, the origin is there. The roots are in the ground with Daniel Dubois and his father. Okay, so that's understandable. And I think he's going to need all of that when he goes in there with Anthony Joshua, okay? Because if he starts not listening and things are not going the way that he wants it to be, that could be a problem. And he will need someone like his father to aid him, to guide him. The only question is, Don Charles looks at himself as a father figure, you know what I mean? And I just wonder if there's any kind of conflict in that when his dad has to come from the 5th or 6th row and come up there and tell something to a fighter that you've already told that fighter. That's what I wonder. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, man, I just told this kid the same thing. Why isn't he getting it? Why don't I have that respect? I think the fact is about Daniel Dubois, he showed us mental weakness at times, like a lot of other fighters. He's not by himself, so I'm not singling him out. Okay, but this is the fight at hand. This is the fighter at hand. He's the IBF champion, and he is defending that belt against the man that had that belt along with other belts for a very long time. So, based on that, he's just saying what Daniel Dubois is capable of doing, you know what I mean? And his habits and his tendencies of what he does, and you know what? I appreciate Frank and and I've grown some respect for Frank for doing that on Front Street. He's not doing it away from Daniel Dubois. He's doing it right then and there because he's already said it to Dubois. And Dubois kind of looked at him like, what? Yes, your mentality can come into question. And he said that right then. And the whole idea of publicly saying that about your fighter takes balls. Okay. You know what I mean? That takes a very realistic person with balls, of course, and brave enough or bold enough to say that thing right when that fighter's there. You know what I mean? But I think it helps Daniel, though, because if you can remember when Frank said, when Jarrell Miller was roasting Daniel Dubois, when Daniel Dubois was all flat and Jarrell Miller was saying 100 words a minute talking about him and everybody about, about him being a quitter and smelling bitch on you and all that type of stuff, Frank had to come to his aid, and he pretty much had to pull Daniel to the side and then publicly say, hey, you gotta take this guy out. There is no tomorrow. Okay, so if you lose to Jarrell Miller, it's over for you. You know what I mean? So I think this helps Daniel Dubois being Frank so bold like he is. Okay, because I think he gets it. Daniel's one of those type of people, you have to be 100% pragmatic. And I think that is exactly what and how Frank Warren is. But you guys tell me what you think of Frank stating that Daniel Dubois at times don't listen. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!